Hey yo, it's your boy, LOZA. We're here to talk about Dark Magician Pure List, crafted by me, the Dark Magician enthusiast. Kill me. Who said that? Anyway, let's get into the build. Well, if you're here for the list, here it is. Now, if you wanted to see it, copy paste it, off you go. But if you want to stick around, well, I got a card by card analysis, and after that, maybe some test hands, a little bit of combos. Half of them are just going to be me linking two monsters into Anaconda Dragoon. But you already knew that. Anyhow, away we go. Starting with the engine requirements, or bricks as you may want to call them. We've got two Dark Magician, only two, that's right. I've been playing two for a long time, and I encourage you to do the same. Now, if you saw that OCG list that topped with Phoenix Enforcer because their Dragoon's banned, you'll notice he played one Dark Magician. I think that is the move if Dragoon gets banned. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. You can see we're still playing Red Eyes. You have to. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a brick in the deck. Guess what? Half this deck's a brick anyway. This brick at least allows us to play one of the most powerful fusion spells in the game. Talk about that later. Anyway, our fourth and final brick, the Dark Magician Girl. You can play Mana instead, but I figured because we're going with Gozen, we may as well just play her because she's dark. Timaeus, the Dragon of Destiny. It's not the best fusion card, I'm going to be honest. I've been testing it at 1 and 0, and honestly, I think I like 0 more. But for this video, we're going to be playing it at 1. It is very searchable because we play 3 Illusion of Chaos and 3 Prep. That means we have 7 copies of Timaeus here, and we've also got 7 copies of Apprentice Illusion Magician. Now, what she's here for is, 1, she's super searchable now, as I just mentioned. 2, she can protect your Dragoon, and 3, she is an extender to some degree. If you open her, sure, you can use her to extend into Dragoon or whatever you need to do to make Anaconda, but her main use here is just to buff up your Dragoon so it doesn't die to things like Access Code or the Super Rail Dread Cannon, whatever, the big XZ they make that goes to 6k. Basically, if Dragoon has 1 negate and you drop Apprentice on it, it will be at 6k, and that beats over everything in the game, essentially, so you shouldn't have too many problems. And the reason why that effect is relevant is because sometimes you will open your Rod and your Souls combo, and then you've also got the Apprentice, and you're like, well, sorry, the Illusion of Chaos, and you're like, well, what do I search of with this? And this just gives you some options in case you do open Rod and Souls. It gives you the Apprentice option and the Timaeus option. Both are fine. So if your Souls or Rod gets gammed, for example, you can always just use Illusion of Chaos to grab Apprentice and still make Dragoon that way, if you get what I'm saying. Alright, let's get into the next monsters. 3 Rod and 3 Souls. I don't think anyone will play anything different than this. This is the correct ratio to play of these cards. They are... Look, I don't want to overhype them because by themselves, they don't actually do anything. Like, Rod can get you any spell trap in the deck, but as I said earlier, Dark Magician doesn't have any 1-card starters. Like, if it could search you a Dark Magician fusion card that was like Ref, sure, Rod would be crazy good. We'd even play Circle at 3 in that world because we'd want to see the Dark Magician fusion spell. But obviously, it's a Red Eyes fusion spell, so it doesn't exactly work with Circle. But more to, it doesn't matter. It's a really good card, so we're going to play it. But as I was saying, Rod can grab you like Soul Servant, Secret, Salvation, Eternal Soul, Circle. None of those cards do anything without another card, which is kind of the whole deck's problem. It's like a triangle formation. You need Circle to, you know, use Eternal Soul properly, and then to summon Dark Magician where you got to have it. So you need to have all 3. And then on top of that, that only gets you 1 banish. Like, at that point, just play 3 Trap Trick and 3 Ice Dragons Prison. You got 2 banishes. I like to make that reference a lot, but it is very true. You could play those cards as well. They're absolutely fine. So yeah, let's move on. We've got Effect Veiler here, and normally when I play a hand trap in Dark Magician, I want it to be one of 2 things. 1, generic, so it hits everything. 2, really strong, so stuff like Nibiru. Well, Veiler is neither of those. So yeah, he synergizes really well with Dark Magician because he fucking sucks. Nah, look, I'm just kidding. He's an alright hand trap and a good femboy. He's not amazing, but he's not too shabby. The fact that he's not once per turn is nice, and the fact that he lets us play like the little Hulk turbo combo down here is really nice. I might show that off later for those who don't know, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Spicy tech here is Soravis the Ancient and Ascended. Now, this is a Light Dragon level 7. See the synergy? Dragon level 7. You're not going to summon it half the time, don't worry. But if it is in your grave, you could use it to summon Dragoon with Magicalized. I don't know, if you want. Most of the time, you'll probably use your Red Eyes. But anyway, this card is like a second called by the grave. So this is to protect your Anaconda effect mostly, just to put that out there. It can also double up as protecting stuff like your Magician's Rod or your Hulk, anything you think is important. This card can protect. Now, I believe it only protects against targeting. Yes, something that targets a monster you control. You can discard it and negate the activation. So it's really nice. But let's read the second effect, the on-field effect, because it's actually very similar to Illusion of Chaos. So this card says when it's on the field, when your opponent would special summon a monster, quick effect, return this card to the hand for cost, come back to the hand, negate the summon if you do banish that monster. So why that's cool is obviously if you ever summon this, and you can in this build with Secrets and Dark Magician, you would be able to. That's, once again, not that worth it, but you, in theory, you can play it. What's cool is, just like Illusion of Chaos, comes back to the hand, so you can then use the other effect. I really like that. So let's quickly read that effect of Illusion of Chaos. So when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, return this card to the hand. If you do, special summon one Dark Magician from your graveyard, and if you do, negate that activated effect. Illusion of Chaos comes back to the hand as well, but it also replaces itself with a Dark Magician, which is actually kind of nice. I don't think that effect is going to come up much, just putting it out there. You're mainly going to use Saw Ravers and the Illusion of Chaos for their first effects, which is their hand effects, but the second effects are kind of like icing on the cake, or the cherry on top. They're there if you want them, but you probably don't need them. Let's get into the most powerful card in the deck. Yes, I know, it's Red Eyes Fusion. Of course, it's not a Dark Magician card. Boo fucking who. Listen, we don't have a better fusion spell. I know you're going to be mad, but hear me out. I'm claiming Ref as a Dark Magician fusion spell until Konami prints us a good one. Red Eyes Fusion sends from deck. It's exactly what we need when we have to play the Palladium monsters. We have to play Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician. Like, we don't play all of them, but you know they want us to get the draw 4 off Soul Servant. And maybe one day we can, but for now it's just stupid to play that many bricks. But hey, Red Eyes Fusion does what we need. It puts Dark Magician in the grave, and it summons one of the most powerful monsters in the game. A monster that makes people quit, it makes people mad, it wins games by itself, like, and it does essentially what Magician Souls does, but better, and I don't know why people don't get that. And people are like, oh yeah, but if I ref, then I can't summon monsters. Well, no shit, but like, you're playing Dark Magician, just set some back row and pass, like, it's not that bad, I think. Like, yes, it can get ashed, but you can get ashed on like half the deck now, which is really good. You can bait ash with Illusion of Chaos, and remember if they ash Illusion of Chaos, Illusion stays in the hand, and they lose the ash, so you've kind of just gone win-win there. Prep can be ashed, obviously, but I don't think anyone should be ashing Prep. It'd be pretty silly. They can ash the draw of Soul Servant, which could come up. Apart from that, there's not much else they would ash that interrupts ref. Like, they could ash Rod, obviously, they could ash Souls, but Soul's draw effect, not summon, just the draw. But obviously you can't ref if you summon them that turn. But if Souls was just randomly on the field from last turn, sure, go ham. Ref is still one of our best cards, okay? Please play it. Going second, it wins you so many games because it either baits in a gate, or you just get a Dragoon and pop their shit, and then they got to start using the gates or lose the game. I've always said Red Eyes Fusion plus Droplets is almost like an auto win. I don't have Droplets in this list, but you could add that in. It's just a money card right now, though it is getting a reprint, so it might go down. Anyway, let's move on to Magicalize Fusion. I've run out of script, so I'm ad-libbing at this point. Magicalize Fusion is great because if you have it with Souls, Magician Souls that is, you can make a Dragoon just with those 2 cards. And if you have Rod on top of that, or any normal summon on top of that, you can actually make double Dragoon, which is pretty fucking nice. Let's get into Upstart. Upstart is, oh yeah, obviously Magicalize also just makes a second Dragoon after you've done a ref turn, you know, on the next turn you can go Magicalize. I forgot to say, but Magicalize can obviously make Quintet here as well, and that's another reason why we're playing so many different Spellcasters. Anyway, Upstart's amazing because it synergizes so well with Circle and Soul Servant, and it's got me out of, like, hard spots in a tournament. Like, I was in a tournament, I had 2 Soul Servant, Upstart, and, like, Dogmatic and Punishment and some other card, just another Spell Trap or something, yeah, just not a monster, no monster, that's like Ash Blossom. And I just went Upstart, opponent's like, okay, I go Chain Soul Servant, they're like, okay, stack Magician Souls, right? Then I naturally draw it, I activate Souls, sending Dark Magician, activate my second Soul Servant, stack Rod on top, because the stacking effect's not once per turn, it's crazy. And then you banish Soul Servant, draw 1, I have Rod, summon Rod, get something off Rod, I can't remember what I got, but the point is, I got to Anaconda Dragoon, and my opponent was just like, what? And I was like, what? I was looking at my hand like, there's no way to Dragoon in this hand, there's an Ash Blossom. Upstart is crazy, and it can just fix so much. You just have to see the lines of play with it. Like, I had to big brain think for a second, I was like, oh yeah, I can do that, stack that, do that, draw that, cool. And it worked out pretty good. Let's get into the next card, which Oh boy. It's one I fucking hate. Secrets of Dark Magic. I just feel like this card, as well as Timaeus, need to be a bit better. Like, as I said, Red Eyes Fusion's our best fusion spell because it sends the material from deck, and that is so big. It sends bricks. It's so good. Like, it doesn't use any material. You could open 5 cards, one of them being ref, play your ref, and then set like 3 and keep one in hand to negate. Like, you're probably winning that game, right? You're probably winning that game. It's crazy. So Red Eyes Fusion, just like, please play it. It's so good. Anyway, back to Secrets. Secrets is okay because it can help us make Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, can help us make Dark Magician. So it's okay. Like, it could happen. Magician Salvation. This card's like your 3rd copy of Eternal Soul, so you could play 1 Eternal Soul, but I went for 2 Circle, 2 Eternal in this build because it's a more pure-based build. We're going to focus on the engine a bit more. So obviously this can summon Dark Magician Girl. I find that effect doesn't come up too much. You're normally going to send this away either to summon Timaeus, or the main reason I find is sending it for draws with Magician Souls. I really like using it for that. It's great. And that's another reason why I like playing Mana, because if this was Mana instead, you can go Magician Souls, sending Mana to the bin, activate Salvation, set Eternal Soul, activate Souls, sending Salvation, and if they hit you with an Imperm of Ayla, the mana just comes out, and then you have Dragoon. Like, I love that. Eternal Soul, it's okay. It's one of our cards we have to play. It's great when it goes uninterrupted. When it gets wiped, we cry. But if Dragoon's out, we're good. Goin Match. This is the meta call, and the reason why it's the meta call is it beats Sword Soul, it beats Flunderies. It's really good. Because it locks Flunders into one of their attributes, and if they're locked into the water one, they can't summon the penguin one, or vice versa. I think the penguin's probably the water one, right? But anyway, the point is they're either locked into wind or locked into water, which means they probably can't get to where they want to go, and you're really disrupting a lot of what, like, they want to spam normal summons, and you're just making that impossible. Against Sword Soul, as soon as they summon a token, flip Goin Match and watch them cry. They can still go into some synchros, but they won't be able to do a lot of their plays. They won't be able to summon Fleur. They won't be able to summon Phoenix Enforcer. And I think that's the other thing. Gozin's super good in this format because a lot of people are just teching in Phoenix Enforcer. And by playing Gozin, like when they go Fusion Destiny, you can just flip this and it's like, well, it's not coming out. Or like they have to pick an attribute. Like, so if they're playing it in a deck that's not primarily dark, great. You just make them either lose their field, keep Phoenix, or vice versa. Like, it's just value. So I really like Gozen. You can play it at more than 2. I'm just playing it at 2 here because our 3rd floodgate is Skill Drain. I try to not go a 2-trap heavy build, but you can definitely play more traps than this. Skill Drain. I've put it in so many of my lists. You know what it do. It is so good in Dark Magician. Like, it wins you games. You can just loop Eternal Soul Circle Dark Magician and just out-game, like out-resource people. It's so silly. Simplify the game state and then just play Dark Magician Beatdown. It's honestly worth it. And if you get stuck on it, you can just use Magician Soul, send it to draw a card, and it sends it for cost. So even if your opponent negates that, you still got rid of the skill drain, and you can now play with your monster effects that you probably needed. Otherwise, you probably didn't send it, right? Alright, we know skill drain's good. Let's get on to the extra deck. We've got Quintet Magician. This is a bit of a funny card. I probably should have played the XZ package that gets you to it a little bit quicker that Michael made. But I might show that off later, but we're not playing it for now. Anyway, we've got 2 Dragoon. I think you always play 2 Dragoon because you just got 2 ways to make it. You can play 3, but I don't think that's ever relevant, whereas 2 will come up a lot. 1 is okay. Some people play 1. That's fine. I still think 2 is the right amount in a pure Dark Magician list. Dark Magician the Dragon Knight and Dark Magicians, these are just our other fusions. They're okay. They're not amazing. Like, Dark Magician the Dragon Knight sometimes is better than Dragoon, but in this scenario, it's alright. The problem with these cards, as I mentioned earlier, is they're Summon Off Secrets and Timaeus, which just use too many resources to get there for me to like them. Like, you're just losing 3 cards. Going first, losing 3 cards to finish on one of these is not that great, you know? Especially, as I said, you can play Ref, Summon Dragoon, you still have 4 cards in your hand. Even if you get Ashed, you still have 4 cards in your hand. Like, that's still better. Access Code Talker. This card will be a little more available soon with the gold reprint as well as Anaconda, so be sure to pick up some gold versions just because they'll be cheap. Obviously, it just wins games, so you can play it. You can make it fairly easily in this deck on turn 2 with stuff like Selene. For those who don't know, Selene can special a Spellcaster if there's 3 spells or more in both graves and or field, so that comes up all the time. And it can summon back stuff like Dragoon, even your Dark Magicians. Like, it can bring back any Spellcaster, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Which often means you can just make access code easy. We've got the Duck. Duck. We've got the Dark Charmer. This card's coming out in the same set as Illusion of Chaos. And it's really good for turboing into Selene and then into access code. So it's another way to get into access code fairly cheap. Plus, the real good niche use for this is to take your opponent's Phoenix Enforcer from their grave and summon it to your field and just leave it there. Just don't let them get it back and summon it back in the standby. Calc is here for the exact same reason. It turbos into Selene, which turbos into access code. You do that by normal summoning an Effect Veiler and having a Magician Souls. I don't think I need to talk about this card. It gets you to both your Dragoons, either through Red Eyes Fusion or through Magicalized. Card's good. Link Spider, this card's really good because it synergizes with your boy Dark Magician, meaning if you summon a Dark Magician in the end phase of your opponent's turn, you can then on your turn make it a Link Spider, Eternal Soul back Dark Magician, link it into I'm Dark, now you got an arrow pointing down and up. You can link them two into Anaconda, boom, you got Dragoon. So one Dark Magician can become an Anaconda Dragoon. You just need to play the right cards. We've got Artemis here, and Artemis is still the best lady. You're going to play her with your Rod. She synergizes really well. Who is calling me? So anyway, Artemis, best Link one in the deck. Synergizes with Rod unless Rod add itself back. Crazy, amazing. Relinquished Anima, another crazy good card. Synergizes with your Souls and your Nibiru. Whenever you summon Nibiru, you're going to put the token under the extra monster zone. That way you can always out it with just your Magician Souls. You don't get the attack of the token, unfortunately, but the main thing is you're just getting rid of it. Sometimes we have trouble getting rid of the token if we don't get to Dragoon or if we don't get to Circle. Sometimes the token is too big for Dark Magician stuff to out. So I find that's a niche way to deal with it. Plus some people will just summon stuff in the below the extra monster zones and you can just suck it up with this. Another thing is it's Spellcaster, so it's more fuel in the fire for Quintet. And you know we've got the Artemis, which is Spellcaster 2, the Dark, which is Spellcaster, Selene, which is a Spellcaster. All these cards are Spellcasters, Effect Veiler. Like, we've got Spellcasters everywhere with different names as well. So that does help fuel the Quintet Magician. Into the side deck, we've got 3 Nibiru, very good hand trap. Always just relevant for this deck, especially because it's essentially an extender that blows your opponent's board. Prankratops is just such a good blowout card. Unfortunately, it's at 1, but what can you do? Droll's really good, and it's also a Spellcaster, so more synergy for this. Harpy's Duster is very good. Play it at 1, please. Cosmic, good card. Village at 1 with Imperial Order at 1. That might seem weird, but they're kind of the same card in this deck, so I'm just playing them both at 1 because they're a little safer that way rather than like 2 Village. Third copy of Gozen and 3 Evenly. Evenly plays around Anti-Spell Fragrance and it plays around Imperial Order, which a lot of people are citing to beat decks like this, just any spell deck, you know? So this is a good way to play around that. They either keep their board, something from their board, or they keep their Imperial Order or Anti-Spell. So Evenly Match, super good card right now. Thanks for watching, guys. That was my pure deck list. I hope you liked it. Please comment and subscribe. I love to chat to you guys in the comments, so feel free to talk to me there. Feel free to question my deck choices, and we'll bounce ideas off each other, and hopefully you can help make the best Dark Magician deck. I'm all about being constructive here. I'm all about criticism. So feel free to roast me in the comments, alright? Don't hold back. Here's the Hannah Montana pillow if you need easy bait, the Miley Cyrus special. Alright, hit me with it.